Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. So in this week's forum in regards to professional sports, seeing that I used to play rugby for the national team of Botswana, I chose to focus a little bit on the safety aspect in professional sports. So this article that I've chosen talks about how rugby authorities are not doing enough to protect players from long-term injuries. And excuse me, and it is a fairly written article as it was written in July of 2020. And there was a study conducted by Durham University, uh, conducted by the sports and exercise scientists, where they said that both union and league codes should step up to prevent recurrent injuries and do more to help players after the careers end. And just like in American football, concussions were the most common injuries among rugby players, with most suffering at least one incident during their career. Now, the study found that there had also been initiatives and rule changes to try and make the game a lot safer, but the rates of injury across a player's career are still very high. This is mainly due to the game being a lot faster and players are getting a lot bigger than they used to be. So that does have even greater impact. The article also mentioned that there was a second study uh, done with done by the Auckland University of Technology in New Zealand, where they compared the number of injuries, the types and number of injuries suffered by over 250 uh, athletes, rugby players, and um, this involved professional rugby players, amateur players, and it also involved non-contact athletes such as cricketers. And the study focused on players that had to retire, which were aged from 21 to 82. And I found this interesting because of how um, athletes feel that, during their sporting careers, there are some issues with the rules being changed for the safety of players in professional sports because of how they feel it's sometimes changing the nature of the game that they've been playing for their whole lives. But when a lot of athletes go into retirement, there is a lot of incidents where players' lives are changing both physically and mentally due to the effects of the sports injuries, such as in football and especially in rugby, where I know for sure that there have been some serious cases where um, players are getting, brain tumors, or they do notice both physical and psychological um, effects that sometimes lead to their deaths. Some players sometimes commit suicide, and um, there was one South African rugby player who suffered a numerous number of concussions throughout his career and had died at such a very young age. So there is kind of two sides to player safety in professional sports, where organizations and committees are trying to change the rules to better the safety of players, but at the same time, players are kind of against this in the sense that they feel that it's changing the nature and the feeling of um, the sports. So I just thought it was interesting to read about how there are two sides to player safeties in professional sports, and I'm kind of interested in how your respective sports, if you're an athlete, how you feel about this incident as well. Thank you.